Hey everyone, and welcome to the first of 3 exhibition games featuring an upgraded Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX League battle deck. This first game is with a fairly vanilla list, focusing entirely on Urshifu itself and the basic Rapid Strike toolkit. This list is basically what you get when you smush together a pair of the titular League battle decks, and it's about as straightforward as you can get. The basic plan is to chain together Gale Thrusts and G-Max Rapid Flows, softening up VMAXs and 2-prizers until we can string together some multi-prize turns. You've got a bit of disruption, a little bit of healing, and the ability to pivot around the board fairly freely. So there is everything you need to have a fairly solid game. Just be mindful of this particular build's over-reliance on Urshifu VMAX itself, and the fact that G-Max Rapid Flow is always going to take 2 turns to get off with this particular build. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's jump right on into Game 1. Alright everyone, and welcome to the first of our 3 games featuring the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX League Battle deck and its upgraded lists. We're going to be jumping in here with the vanilla Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX list. And, heading into this game, it's always nice to go first, but it's not great to see an opening hand like this. At the very least, I'm not getting donked, but your boy really would have liked to see some energy because, as strong as going first is in this format, whipping the attachment is definitely a big sad. So the best I'm able to do here is just establish my board. I am going to bench the additional Remoraid just because there is a small chance my opponent can do something funky here, like trap it in the active with an Umbreon V if they're playing that. I just wanted to avoid any shenanigans and make sure I had the additional Octillery ready to go if necessary. But hey, at least I got one of my Vs in play, so I can evolve into the VMAX next turn. And then, I can't get the G-Max Rapid Flow off to wipe out both of the Houndour, but if I can take out at least one, I know I'm still slowing down my opponent reasonably enough. Now, I am going to evolve into one of the Octilleries, and then I'm going to go for the Evolution Incense here just to grab a VMAX out of the deck. I see that I've got 2 others in there, as well as 6 basic Fighting Energy, which, should be enough to work with here. So I am going to go for the Rapid Strike Search now, and I do thin out an additional VMAX. In hindsight, I think this was a misplay. It's never good to throw away a really valuable resource like that there, but I guess I just wanted to focus on having the 2, not worry about drawing into the 3rd instead, and I do pitch it with the Research, but I see everything I need off of said Research there. I get an additional Octillery, which is always nice, and I get some basic energy in order to get off my Gale Thrust. And obviously the Tower of Waters helped get that big attack off as well. So, I am able to take the first prize here. It's pretty nice, and at this point, my opponent's not going to be able to threaten really much damage at all on their first turn here. The best they can hope for is maybe going for a Laser Focus in order to, follow up with the G-Max one blow the next turn, or just, establish their board as best as possible, maybe disrupt me with the help of Umbreon or something to that effect. Now, they actually grabbed the VMAX off of the Evo Incense. I think they just did this to play down their hand, and, again, knowing that you're not really getting a big attack off this turn anyways, it doesn't hurt to kind of pad out your HP a little bit by evolving, especially since they do have the single strike Scroll of Scorn on there, giving them access to a pretty cheap and effective attack if they choose to go for it, especially if I give them the damage by going for a G-Max Rapid Flow, which certainly isn't even going to threaten a 2-hit KO, and I'm not threatening a 2-hit KO as is because I don't have the backup Urshifu V ready to evolve on my turn. So, I think my opponent is just kind of take things slowly for a little bit here. They're just going to establish their board a little bit, refresh their hand, and I mean, they're looking pretty good now. They could have 2 Houndooms in play next turn. They'll have the Umbreon ready to evolve up if they need to gust something, and they should have their follow-up Urshifu VMAX as well. It's not the best board. Ideally for them, they would have liked to have an additional Houndour maybe over the Crobat, but sometimes you got to bench the Crobat because you just really need those cards. So for my part here, I'm going to go for the Rapid Strike Search. I am actually going to forego the V here. I was feeling very, very lucky and aggressive at the time, So I thought, hey, you know what? There's a chance I can see an Urshifu V off of the Creameless Focus, and I'm in a pretty tight spot as is. So hey, you know, let me just take out one of the Houndour and do some chip damage to something, and then maybe, you know, I can survive for an additional turn. And, you know, things actually ended up working out pretty well. I played down the Evo Incense here just to thin down my hand. I'll pop the switch now to get my Urshifu VMAX into the active. They put up the Crobat, which was an interesting choice on their part, but, you know, doesn't matter too much to me because now I get my Telescopic Sight, I get the backup V, and of course, I'm well set to go for a big Gmax Rapid Flow. So I am going to target the Houndour down and then deal some big damage to the VMAX because now I can guarantee the KO off of a Gale Thrust. Especially if my opponent continues to accelerate energy to that VMAX, they're just making it a lot easier for me to take it out. And looking at what my opponent's going to do, yep, they are committed to the Urshifu VMAX there, which is fine for me. I'd rather they commit to that than, you know, focus too much on powering up the benched ones, which might have been the smarter thing to do, anticipating that, of course, this big guy is going down. They cannot, unfortunately, get off the big Gmax One Blow, but I did give them enough damage with the single strike energy and the Scroll of Scorn to deal a hefty 240, I believe, to my VMAX, which is not nothing, and I did pitch my Cheryl, so I won't be healing this guy up anytime soon. And of course, the con of attaching the Telescopic Sight to the active means that an easy retreat is not in my future right now. So off of Octillery, I am forced to grab the Tower of Waters here, just so that I can retreat and not lose this Urshifu for nothing. But it's also good to deny them the Tower of Darkness so that they can't draw too many extra cards here. And then I am going to pitch the Karina's Focus because Professor's Research is just going to be more powerful here. I'll use the Quick Ball to thin out the Passimian and get it onto my bench just in case I do need to snipe the Crobat, for example. And then I go for the big Research, which does get me the Evo Incense, ensuring that I can get my backup VMAX now. And of course, go for the big Gale Thrust to take out the opponent's Urshifu VMAX. Obviously, my VMAX on the bench is still really vulnerable, especially with an Umbreon in play, but at the very least, I've taken out a huge threat on my opponent's side, and obviously I've put myself down to a single prize, which is even better. Now, the game isn't totally mine. The ability to deal massive damage, it's iffy. If they happen to play Crushing Hammers, for example, they could take out my basic fighting energy and deny me the Gmax Rapid Flow, or if they evolve up that Houndour into Houndoom as they do now, they take the easy one prize off of the board as well. So outside of maybe bossing up the Crobat and going for a Gmax Rapid Flow or being able to follow up with a Gale Thrust, there's not much I'll be able to do. You know, and if they want to boss up my benched Urshifu and take that out, that's certainly an option. They could Marnie me as well, you know, take away this very nice hand I have, but instead, you know, they just see the writing on the wall and scoop. Well, I know everyone likes to say that single strike is the better bear these days, but you gotta give it to Vanilla Rapid Strike for still putting on a strong performance. It might be a tad linear and you desperately need a big hitter, but it still gets the job done. Like I mentioned in the intro to this particular video, this is a more straightforward starter build. It's literally putting together two of the League battle decks and adding Crobat V, so it's not as teched out as a real meta deck should be. I use this list more as a way to get a hang of how Rapid Strike Urshifu plays, but look to upgrade beyond it as soon as you've got the fundamentals down. The next game in the series is going to feature a more teched out and battle-tested version of Rapid Strike Urshifu, specifically the Urshifu and Galarian Moltres V build, which saw great success in Players' Cup for this year. So check the description below for a link to that next battle, or look for the card which should pop up right about now. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will catch you all in the next one, and until then, take it easy.